My boyfriend Leo and I had been together for 3 years. We weren't officially living together, but he spent most nights at my place since it was closer to his job. We had plans, real plans, to move in together next year when my lease was up. At least that's what I thought. I had been saving for a better place, $2,800 tucked away, built from skipped Starbucks runs, packed lunches, and extra weekend shifts. It was supposed to be our fresh start. Until it vanished. Last Friday, I logged into my banking app, expecting to transfer money for my car insurance. Instead, my balance sat at a measly $267. I nearly dropped my phone. Panic set in. My mind raced for an explanation. Fraud, a bank error, anything. But when I called customer service, the truth hit me like a freight train. A withdrawal of $2,550 had been made, in person, at a branch across town, using my ID. My stomach clenched. There was only one person who had access to my wallet and my passwords. Leo. Part 2. Unraveling the lie. I called him. Straight to voicemail. I texted him, my hands shaking. Me, hey, can we talk? It's important. Hours later, a casual response. Out with the guys. Back tomorrow. Something felt wrong. Leo never ignored my calls. Unable to shake the sinking feeling, I did something I rarely did. I checked Instagram. His friend Ryan had posted new stories. The first clip showed a beach, golden sand, and crashing waves. The second? A sunlit poolside lounge. And the third? My breath caught. Leo, smiling, tanned, with his arm wrapped around a woman I had never seen before. The caption? Day 2 of vacation vibes with these lovebirds. Lovebirds. Plural. I kept scrolling, my heart hammering. More posts. More pictures. The girl, Sophia, tagged beside him, drinks in hand, laughing under the sun. And then I saw it, the location tag. A luxury resort in Cancun. A resort that would cost about $2,500 for 2 people. Part 3. The confrontation. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing through every possible scenario. Was this a misunderstanding? A mistake? A cruel prank? When Leo finally walked through the door Sunday night, duffel bag in hand, sun-kissed and relaxed, he greeted me with a lazy smile. Hey babe. I stepped back as he leaned in to kiss me. Where were you? He blinked. Told you. Out with the guys. I pulled up Ryan's Instagram stories and held my phone out. Try again. His expression didn't shift to guilt or regret. Just annoyance. Like I had caught him in a minor lie about finishing the last slice of pizza. You seriously went through my friend's posts? He scoffed. You stole my money? I shot back, my voice shaking. Leo rolled his eyes. Relax. It's not like it was your rent money. It was just sitting there. Just sitting there. My hands curled into fists. That was our apartment fund. I worked extra shifts for that money. He shrugged. We weren't gonna find anything decent for just $2,800 anyway. I felt sick. Is Sophia your girlfriend? A beat too long. A hesitation just enough to tell me everything before he shook his head. She's just a friend. I let out a bitter laugh. Friends don't go on romantic beach vacations together. He sighed, grabbed a beer from the fridge and took a long sip. Look, I'll pay you back eventually. Can we drop this? Part 4. The breaking point. I stared at him, waiting for the regret, the apology, some shred of remorse. Instead, he looked me in the eyes and smirked. You'll get over it. Something inside me snapped. Get out. His smirk faded. Come on, don't be dramatic. My place is far and I have work in the morning. I pointed at the door. Not my problem. He sighed, grabbed his bag and muttered, You're impossible. Sophia wouldn't act like this. Then he walked out. And just like that, 3 years crumbled into dust. Part 5. The aftermath. For 2 days I was a ghost. I barely ate. I barely moved. My phone buzzed with Leo's texts, accusations of overreacting, demands to talk like adults. I blocked him. The bank wouldn't help. Because he had my ID and my passwords, they called it unauthorized use, not fraud. My only option? A civil case. So that's what I'm doing now. I changed all my passwords. Opened a new bank account. Scheduled to have my locks changed. I don't think he'll come back. But I don't know who he is anymore. And that's the scariest part of all. My hands trembled as I dialed Leo's number. Straight to voicemail. I texted him. Hey, can we talk? It's important. Hours passed. My heart pounded with every tick of the clock. I kept checking my phone, my mind spinning with possibilities. Maybe there was an emergency. Maybe he was planning a surprise. Maybe. A message popped up. Out with the guys. Back tomorrow. A single, careless line. No concern. No curiosity about why I needed to talk. Just dismissive. A cold dread curled around my spine. Something was wrong. I opened Instagram, barely breathing as I scrolled through his friend Ryan's stories. The first post, just a beach. The second, a glittering resort pool. But the third, my stomach dropped. Leo. Standing in the sand, drink in hand, his arm wrapped around a woman I'd never seen before. The caption? Day 2 of vacation vibes with these lovebirds. Lovebirds. Plural. I couldn't move. I clicked through more of Ryan's posts, my breath coming in short gasps. Leo and this woman, Sophia, clinking glasses. Laughing. Holding hands as the sunset painted the sky behind them. The location tag burned into my vision. Cancun. A 5-star resort. A place that would cost around $2,500 for 2 people. My savings. A sick, hollow feeling spread through my chest. I wanted to scream. Cry. Wake up from this nightmare. He had stolen from me. Lied to me. And then used my hard-earned savings to take another woman on a romantic getaway. Something inside me snapped. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was betrayal. You said, make it more engaging and interesting and as long as Yoya can. ChatGPT said. Part 2, a trail of lies. My hands trembled as I dialed Leo's number. Straight to voicemail. I stared at my screen, my stomach churning. Something wasn't right. I sent him a text instead. Hey, can we talk? It's important. Minutes dragged into hours. My heart pounded every time my phone buzzed, only to deflate when it was nothing. Just an email, a random notification, anything but him. Finally, just past midnight, his reply came through. Out with the guys. Back tomorrow. A single, careless line. No concern. No curiosity about why I needed to talk. Just dismissive. A strange sense of dread coiled around my chest. Something felt off. I could feel it in my bones. Leo had never been the most emotionally expressive guy, but this was different. Indifferent. I dropped my phone onto the bed and rubbed my temples, trying to push away the growing anxiety. I needed to clear my head, to think. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe there was some kind of explanation. But deep down, I knew. I knew something was very, very wrong. I stared at my screen, my thumb hovering over the Instagram app. Leo barely posted anything, but his friend Ryan? He lived for social media. I hesitated for a second before opening Ryan's stories. The first one, just a wide shot of a beach. The second, a luxury resort pool, glittering under the sun. The third, I froze. Leo. Standing in the sand, drink in hand, his arm wrapped around a woman I had never seen before. My vision blurred. My body went ice cold. The caption? Day 2 of vacation vibes with these lovebirds. Lovebirds. Plural. My brain refused to process what I was looking at. I clicked through more of Ryan's stories, my fingers numb. Leo and this mystery woman, Sophia, clinking glasses of champagne. Laughing. Holding hands as the sunset painted the sky behind them. Each image hit me like a fresh punch to the gut. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my throat. I forced myself to look at the location tag. Cancun. A 5-star resort. A place that would cost around $2,500 for 2 people. $2,500. My savings. A dizzying wave of realization crashed over me. My knees buckled and I collapsed onto the bed, clutching my phone like it could somehow make this all go away. He had stolen from me. Lied to me. And then used my hard-earned savings, money I had spent a year and a half sacrificing for, to take another woman on a romantic getaway. The betrayal was so sharp, so deep that I physically felt it in my chest. I scrolled through the pictures again, desperate for some clue that I was misunderstanding, that this wasn't what it looked like. But the more I looked, the more my stomach twisted. The way he smiled at her, he had never looked at me like that. The way she leaned into him, comfortable, familiar. I gasped for air, feeling like I was suffocating under the weight of it all. 3 years. 3 years of love, of loyalty, of planning a future together. And in the end, this is what I meant to him? Nothing? I wanted to scream, to cry, to tear my apartment apart in blind rage, but all I could do was sit there, staring, numb. And then, something inside me snapped. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was who he was. And I was about to make sure he never got away with it. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them, Leo and her. Sophia. On a sun-drenched beach, sipping cocktails, laughing at some inside joke. My blood simmered under my skin, rage and heartbreak warring inside me. How dare he? How dare he use my money, the money I spent over a year saving, sacrificing to take another woman on a romantic vacation. I watched the sunrise from my apartment window, my fingers gripping my phone so tight my knuckles turned white. He was coming home today, and I would be waiting. Hours later, just as the sky darkened, I heard it. The jingle of keys. The turn of the doorknob. The door swung open and there he was. Leo. Tanned. Smiling. Dressed in a loose linen shirt, looking like some carefree traveler returning home after an adventure. He dropped his duffel bag at the door like he hadn't just committed the ultimate betrayal. Hey babe, he said casually like I didn't already know. Like I hadn't spent the last 24 hours unraveling his lies. He leaned in to kiss me. I stepped back. Where were you? He frowned, feigning confusion. I told you I was with the guys. The audacity. I inhaled sharply and pulled out my phone. I pressed play. Ryan's Instagram story filled the silent room. There he was, arm around Sophia, laughing, drinking, holding her like she was his. Leo went completely still. For the first time I saw something flicker across his face, not guilt, not regret, just annoyance. He sighed, rubbing his jaw like I was nagging him about leaving dishes in the sink. You weren't supposed to see that. I wasn't supposed to see that? That's what he had to say? My heart pounded, my vision blurring at the edges. He didn't even deny it. You stole from me, I said, my voice shaking. You stole my money, Leo. You took my savings, our savings, for our future. And you spent it on a vacation with her. He scoffed. It's not like I took your rent money. I felt the world tilt beneath me. Not like he took my rent money. It was just sitting there, he continued as if that made it okay. And besides, Sophia won the tickets. She just needed someone to go with her. You're being ridiculous. My nails dug into my palms so hard it hurt. I didn't even realize I was shaking until I looked down at my hands. Are you hearing yourself right now? I whispered. But he wasn't done. He actually had the nerve to laugh. $800 wouldn't have gotten us anything decent anyway. I snapped. You think this is funny? I exploded, my voice shaking the walls. You stole from me. You lied to me. And now you're standing here laughing in my face. For the first time, Leo actually looked surprised. Like he hadn't expected me to fight back. His expression hardened. He walked to the fridge, grabbed a beer, popped it open like we were just having a casual chat. Like my pain was nothing. Like I was nothing. And then he said the words that made my stomach drop. Relax. You'll get over it. The room went dead silent. Something inside me broke. I thought back to all the nights we spent together. The whispered I love yous. The plans for the future. The way I supported him when he was broke, when he was stressed, when he had nothing to give. And this was how he saw me. A woman he could cheat on. A woman he could steal from. A woman who would just get over it. I squared my shoulders, my voice eerily calm. Get out. He blinked. What? Get out. He scoffed again. Come on, don't be dramatic. I have work in the morning. That's not my problem. He rolled his eyes, finally setting the beer down. You're making a big deal out of nothing. My hands clenched into fists. Nothing? I stormed to the front door, yanked it open, and pointed outside. Get up. Now. His jaw tightened. Fine. He grabbed his bag, slung it over his shoulder, and muttered under his breath, Sophia wouldn't act like this. I don't know what came over me, but before I knew it, I grabbed his beer from the counter and hurled it at the door just as he stepped out. Crash. The sound echoed through the hallway as glass shattered everywhere. Leo flinched, turning back to stare at me, finally realizing he had pushed me too far. But I just stood there, breathing heavily, my entire body trembling. This was over. I slammed the door in his face and locked it. I heard him curse under his breath before his footsteps disappeared down the hall. And just like that, Leo was gone. But the damage? The betrayal? That would take a lot longer to erase. The moment the door slammed shut behind Leo, the weight of everything came crashing down on me. I stumbled backward, my breath coming in sharp, uneven gasps. My entire body was shaking, not just with rage but with something deeper. A hollow, aching grief that made my chest feel like it was caving in. I had just thrown him out. 3 years. 3 years of love, of shared memories, of thinking we were building something together. And it had all ended with a stolen bank account and a broken beer bottle. I sank onto the couch, my head in my hands, willing myself to breathe. But no matter how many deep breaths I took, nothing could stop the storm inside me. And then, my phone rang. I nearly jumped out of my skin. My heart pounded as I grabbed it, half expecting Leo's name to flash across the screen. It wasn't him. It was an unknown number. A strange sense of dread settled in my stomach. Slowly I pressed answer. And the moment I did, his voice filled my ears. "Are you happy now? You really had to be this dramatic?" I could hear it in his tone, the anger, the disbelief that I had actually stood up for myself. Like he had expected me to cry, to beg, to let him walk all over me just like I had for years. But I was done. "You stole from me, Leo," I said, my voice eerily calm. "You stole my money and used it to take another woman on a romantic vacation." He scoffed. "I told you I was gonna pay you back." I laughed. Actually laughed. A cold, hollow sound that even startled me. "With what money, Leo?" I asked. "The same money you never even have for groceries? Or rent? Or literally anything else?" Silence. Then the shift. The one I knew was coming. Leo had always been good at turning things around, at twisting reality until somehow I became the villain. "You know what?" he snapped. "I took that money because I knew you'd never actually do anything fun with it. You would have just kept hoarding it, pretending it was for our future." I gripped the phone so tight my fingers hurt. "Our future? The one you just threw in the trash." "Oh please," he scoffed. "You were always controlling, always nagging me about money. I just wanted to enjoy myself for once. And guess what? I did." His words hit like a slap. I pulled the phone away from my ear, staring at the screen in disbelief. This was who he really was. A liar. A thief. A man who could cheat, steal, and then blame me for his own mistakes. I put the phone back to my ear, my voice steady. "Lose my number, Leo." And before he could say another word, I hung up. But of course it wasn't over. Because Leo wasn't done with me yet. That night I ignored my phone, ignored the texts that kept rolling in. Some were desperate. "Babe, let's talk. Please don't do this." Others were cruel. "You're seriously ruining my life over some stupid vacation money?" I blocked his number. Then I blocked him on everything. Instagram, Snapchat, Venmo, every single platform. But what I wasn't prepared for, what I never saw coming, was the backlash. Because Leo? He didn't just let things go. By morning I woke up to an explosion of messages. From his friends. Some were mocking, "Damn girl, you really threw him out over a trip? Pathetic." Others were worse. "You know he was gonna propose, right? You just threw away your future over a little mistake." A little mistake. I wanted to scream. But the worst message, the one that made my blood turn to ice, was from Sophia. The other woman. Her profile was new. A blank slate, no pictures, just one single message in my DMs. "You should be embarrassed. He's mine now." I stared at it, my hands trembling. Then, slowly, a realization settled over me. I wasn't the one who should be embarrassed. She should. Because she was with a man who would steal, cheat, and lie without a second thought. She thought she had won. But all she had done was inherit a snake. And suddenly, for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt free. The moment I read Sophia's message, "You should be embarrassed. He's mine now." A strange calm washed over me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt. I just laughed. Because if she thought she had won, she had no idea what she was in for. Leo wasn't some grand prize. He was a walking disaster. A liar, a thief, a man who would use and discard people the moment it suited him. And she was just next in line. But even as I let that realization sink in, I knew I wasn't done. I refused to let Leo walk away from this unscathed. He had stolen from me, humiliated me, mocked me, and I was about to make sure he never forgot it. That morning I put my plan into motion. Step 1, secure myself. I changed every password, banking, social media, emails, even my Netflix account. I transferred what little money I had left to a brand new account, one Leo would never get his hands on. I called my bank and reported the withdrawal. Even if they couldn't reverse it, I wanted a record. Then I took it a step further. I filed a police report. I wasn't sure if anything would come of it, but I wanted proof. If Leo ever tried to pull this on someone else, there would be a record of what he did. Step 2, expose the truth. Leo thought he could get away with this because he always had. Because I had been too soft, too forgiving. Not anymore. I took screenshots of everything. His texts, his lies, his pathetic excuses. Then I went to Instagram. I didn't post some emotional rant. I didn't cry or beg for sympathy. I just posted one thing. A screenshot of his texts, where he admitted to stealing my money to take another woman on vacation. No captions, no explanations, just cold, undeniable proof. And then I let the world do what it does best. Step 3. Watch it burn. Within hours, my inbox exploded. People who had been his friends, the same ones who mocked me, turned on him. His DMs flooded with hate. His followers dropped like flies. Even his boss saw it. And guess what? Turns out, stealing money and flaunting it online isn't a great look when you work for a company that handles client finances. Leo got fired. Just like that. And as for Sophia? She lasted a grand total of 2 weeks before realizing what a mistake she had made. I got one final message from her. You were right. That was it. I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because I had already won. Now, months later, I look back on everything and I don't feel anger anymore. I don't feel pain. I just feel relief. Because I walked away with my dignity. Leo? You walked away with nothing. And for the first time in 3 years, I was finally free. Looking back, I realized this wasn't just about stolen money or even betrayal. It was about learning my worth. Leo thought he could lie, cheat, and steal, and that I would just take it. That I would be too weak to fight back. But he was wrong. Because in the end, I didn't just lose a toxic boyfriend. I gained my freedom, my self-respect, and the strength to never let anyone treat me like that again. And if there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this. Never ignore the red flags. Protect your finances. Know your worth, and never let anyone make you question it. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your experience. Have you ever been in a similar situation? Drop your story in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories and lessons. Your support means the world. See you in the next one.